What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Nick. So if you haven't seen my last video, I did a video predicting every NBA team season, the Western Conference edition. Now today's video, we're going to be doing the Eastern Conference of that video. So this is part 2 to that video. If you haven't seen that video already, the link in the description for that video is down below. Make sure you go watch it for more context on this video. But before we get started, if you haven't already and you do enjoy today's video, make sure you click that like button. Also click that subscribe button to get notified when new videos do come out, and comment down below. Tell me what you agree and disagree on if I talk about your team in today's video. Now with that all being said, let's get right into the video. Starting off with our first team, the New York Knicks. Now the New York Knicks made a trade for Karl-Anthony Towns for Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo. Now with this trade for the New York Knicks, I feel like they have become a NBA Finals contender. Just last season, the New York Knicks fell in the second round, but with this new addition and team, I feel like they could become an NBA title contention. I feel like they can compete with the Boston Celtics with a new addition of Karl-Anthony Towns. I feel like those two teams actually collide neck and neck with each other. Just how last year in the Western Conference, the Timberwolves and the Denver Nuggets collided to each other, and the Timberwolves ended up beating on top of the reigning NBA champions Denver Nuggets. So I think that can happen for the Boston Celtics this year with the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks have a good two-way defending team, and I really love their team and roster construction. And with the addition of Karl-Anthony Towns, I feel like they really won this trade. Also with the addition of Mikal Bridges this offseason, New York has a solid squad going into the 24-25 NBA season. Now on to our second team, the Miami Heat. Now the Miami Heat have made too many big major offseason moves or trades. They're running it back with the same team, and to be honest, I feel like the Miami Heat are going to be the team that they always been time after time, each and every year. 7-8 seed, may win a series, may not win a series. You don't want to play against them. There's nothing really too much to say about Miami. They are the same team every single year. Sometimes they blow away expectations, sometimes they don't. I don't really expect nothing too brand new from them this season. I feel like they'll maybe make a second round exit this year, first round exit. I don't see too many improvements from the Miami Heat this season. I feel like they're going to be kind of the same record that they were last year. May shock us, may not. You never know with the Miami Heat. Now on to our next team, the Washington Wizards. The Washington Wizards this year, they're going to be a horrible tanking team. Last year, they had the #1 pick, and they picked Alex Sarr with their draft pick this year. And to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, I don't see them doing nothing this year. Their whole thing this year should just be developing Alex Sarr. Go out there and play basketball, get development for their young guys. But I don't see no new improvements from them. You still got Jordan Poole, shot chucker. You still got Kyle Kuzma, shot chucker. I really don't see no improvements from the Washington Wizards. Just go out there and play basketball, develop the young talent you have. Now on to our next team, the Atlanta Hawks. If you don't know already, Atlanta Hawks traded DeJounte Murray for Dyson Daniels, E.J. Little, Larry Nance Jr., and Cody Zeller for DeJounte Murray. Now, with this trade for Atlanta, they just had to get rid of DeJounte Murray, which I understand that backcourt of DeJounte Murray and Trae Young did not work for them. I see Atlanta being a good top 7 seed this year, maybe a play-in team. I don't really see too many new improvements. They did have the #1 pick this year, Zachary Richard this year. I don't ever seen too much of Zachary Richard. Really a stringy player though. I like his build, brain for a player, but I want to see what he does on the court this season. I saw a little bit of him in summer league, but I don't know too much of him. To be honest with you, this draft class was pretty weak. I feel like Atlanta could be at least a top 7 seed this year, maybe if not top 6, it's at maximum. But I really don't see that many good improvements from this team. Now on to the reigning defending champion, Boston Celtics. Now the Boston Celtics end up winning the NBA championship last year, and I feel like they're going to do it again this year. Now the problem with the Celtics is they're going to have to pay a lot of people money going into next year. So a lot of people are going to be on a contract year. I feel like the Celtics can win back-to-back finals. It's their goal to keep the championship alive. They have a solid squad, one of the best teams in the league. They didn't really make that many improvements this year. They didn't have to make any improvements this year. I feel like their only challenge will probably be the New York Knicks this year, but besides that, the Boston Celtics are a good, solid squad. Now on to the Detroit Pistons. Now, the Detroit Pistons, I'm just going to say this. I feel bad for y'all franchise. If you're a fan of this team, I'm sorry. It's not too much I can say about your team, man. I say expect a 15 seed this year. Tanking season again. I don't know what can help your franchise. I'm sorry, Detroit fans. Kate Cunningham's a good player, though. On to the next team. Now for the Philadelphia 76ers. Philadelphia 76ers got Paul George in the offseason this year. Now, the problem with Paul George is that we have seen Paul George play good in the regular season, but when it comes playoff time, most of the time he disappears. He had a good playoff year 2 years ago, but Paul George in the playoffs unreliable. A lot of injury history for Paul George over the past couple years too. I just don't see him and Embiid getting it done in the playoffs this year. I feel like they can be another second round exit team. Hopefully, maybe this year they can make it to the Western Conference Finals, but I would never bet money on Philadelphia 76ers to make it past the second round. Time after time, they have proven to us to choke leads, choke series, underperform. I just don't see it again this year. I don't know how they can break that barrier. And I don't see Paul George being the fix for your team. I feel like you guys are going to win a lot of games this season in the regular season. I can see you guys being a top 3 seed this year, even the first seed, but I just don't see you guys making it past the second round. And that's unfortunate, man, because Embiid won an MVP a couple years ago and still is the only MVP to not make it past the second round. That's disappointing, man. You know, you got Daryl Morey in there to get Paul George, so maybe it might make a difference. Hopefully I'm wrong on this, but I just don't see Philadelphia making it past the second round. Now on to the next team, the Toronto Raptors. Now the Toronto Raptors, I feel like they gonna have a good surprising season this year. I can see them being a top 5 team this year from more improvements from Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett. I really like the young core on Toronto's team. I think they're gonna be a shocking team this year. Toronto, I really love their team. I think they're gonna be a good team, very good defensive team. Yeah, I just really like their team, man. Now on to the Brooklyn Nets. Now the Brooklyn Nets have been a failure of a franchise. I don't understand how a team can go from Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden to not have none of them. Also have Ben Simmons that barely plays any games. A horrible trade from the Brooklyn Nets. I feel like the Brooklyn Nets this year are going to be a tanking team. I think they got their picks back from the Rockets this year. I think the Rockets ended up giving them their draft picks back. Don't quote me on that. But I think they have some draft capital this year, either from themselves or from another team. But the Brooklyn Nets, I feel that they'll be a tanking team this year. I expect them to be they'll be a top 3, top 4 bottom team this year, especially with no more Mikal Bridges. That team, I do not see any good luck with their season. Now on to the next team, Chicago Bulls. Now Chicago Bulls, I feel like it's time to trade Zach LaVine. Get Zach LaVine and Vucevic up out of there, man. It is time to tank if you're the Chicago Bulls. Very disappointing season from last year, and you got rid of DeMar DeRozan. I do not see this team being good at all. I feel like the Chicago Bulls will be a bottom 5 team this year. And I feel like this is going to be the year they trade Zach LaVine and just go full-on rebuild. See, they got a good draft player in Mabolis. I don't know how to say his name, but their draft pick. I really don't like the trade of Josh Giddey at all. I really don't like most of the moves y'all are doing. I feel like this is a rebuilding team. Don't see no good luck for y'all in the future so far. I don't know what y'all are doing, keeping Zach LaVine and Vucevic, but I feel like if you want your season and franchise to continue, trade Vucevic and Zach LaVine. The Indiana Pacers. Now, the Indiana Pacers had a solid year last season, making it to the Western Conference Finals, but this year, I do not see that look running from them this year. I feel like they could be a good top 5 team again this year, but I see them losing in the second round. Could make it past the third. They could go to the Western Conference Finals if the New York Knicks and Boston Celtics see each other in the second round, and maybe they play Philadelphia. You know, Philadelphia has bad luck, obviously, but I just don't see them making it past the second round. I feel like they're a second round team at max. They didn't have any new improvements this offseason that was just shocking to me. But shout out Tyrese Halliburton, though. I do expect a good year for Tyrese Halliburton. Now to the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, Milwaukee Bucks, it's been a disappointing season for them for the past couple years ever since winning the championship. It seems that ever since they won the championship, the East has just gotten better and have blown past them time and time again. Hopefully we can have a better season from Damian Lillard than he had last year. Dame obviously had a regression year last year, and that was unfortunate because the duo of Dame and Giannis we thought was going to be a terror for the East, but it was unfortunate. It was unfortunate because Dame didn't play to his best standards, and obviously Milwaukee's defense took a hit. This year, I feel like their defense did get better with some of the trades and signings they had, a little bit better, but you still missing that key defender in Drew Holiday, which they should not have traded. I think they should have found a way to keep Drew Holiday. And also, beginning of the year, unfortunately, Chris Middleton's going to be out for a little bit of time. So I don't know how their defensive and offense is going to flow this year. Hopefully, Dame can have a better year this year. It sucks that Giannis got hurt early in the playoffs this year, too. He's been hurt for the past 2 years early in the playoffs, which really hurt their season. But hopefully, we can see a good Giannis come playoff time and a better Damian Lillard this year. If we have 2 healthy stars of Damian Lillard and Giannis this year with a better improved defense, I feel like Milwaukee can be a top 3 team this year. But if we don't see that again and see the same regression from last year, Milwaukee can end up being a top 6 team once again. Now to Orlando Magic. The Orlando Magic made the playoffs last year. Lost in the playoffs last year in the first round to the Cleveland Cavaliers. But I love the improvements that I saw from Paolo Banchero and the rest of the crew in Orlando. Paolo Banchero doesn't get talked about. One of the most least #1 picks they get talked about, but he is a killer. One of my most favorite players to watch when it comes to the game of basketball. One of the most underrated players to watch. And their team is just a good young core of the team, man. Orlando Magic has a nice, good young core, a young nucleus that I really love. I feel like they're going to really improve this season. And more improvements from their young guys. I feel like they're going to be a team to reckon with this season. And I wouldn't doubt them, man. I feel like a lot of their guys are going to have new improvements. I didn't really see them make any good trades or signings this year, but just the progression they have from their young guys, I wouldn't make any trades because they did have a good season last year. Nobody predicted them to go to the playoffs, but they did, and I feel like Orlando is going to be at least a top 5 team once again this year. Now on to the next team, the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cleveland Cavaliers, I feel like they'll be a top 6 team just like Orlando again. I don't see any new improvements from Cleveland. They signed Donovan Mitchell to a multi-year contract, and I really just don't see any new improvements from Cleveland Cavaliers. I feel like they're going to be a good second round exit again. If not this year, they might could be blown out in the first round. I feel like they'll be the same team as last year. no new improvements from the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now on to the last team, the Charlotte Hornets. Now for the Charlotte Hornets with LaMelo Ball and Miles Bridges, I don't see them doing again anything this year. Maybe they might not be the worst team in the league this year. Maybe, you know, they could be the 14th seed this year, but I don't see any new improvements for the Charlotte Hornets. I hope I'm wrong on this because LaMelo Ball is one of my most favorite players to watch, but the Charlotte Hornets are a disgrace of a franchise. I mean, I don't know what else they can do for this team, but it's no surviving the stuff that they've been through. But maybe they got a new head coach this year. Maybe they can at least improve to at least compete for a play-in spot. At least, hopefully not a bottom 3 team again this year. Hopefully they're actually competing and trying to win meaningful basketball games this year. But I don't know, man. The Charlotte Hornets are a disaster of a team. Now that's gonna be it for today's video. If you did enjoy today's video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. Did I say anything good about your team? Anything nice? Debate me in the comment section below. And with that being said, I'm ending off today's video. Peace.